Today, we are honored and have the privilege to once again welcome back to the committee Ambassador Tai, our United States Trade Representative. Ambassador Tai, as I have noted many times, your prior work on this committee and its positions as you advocated for them were better than most, and certainly the importance of U.S. trade policy was carefully crafted during your time as we supported American workers, families, and business. It has been slightly over a year since you were confirmed as a United States Trade Representative, the President's top trade advisor, and our nation's lead trade negotiator. In your short time at USTR, the Biden administration has delivered several significant wins for the American people. For instance, through your leadership, the United States resolved the long-standing Boeing-Airbus trade dispute. I want to commend you for concluding one of the longest-standing trade disputes in U.S. history in a manner that delivers for the American worker and American businesses. Your resolution of the dispute created an opportunity for the United States and European Union to work cooperatively to confront China's non-market practices in the aerospace sector and beyond. During your first year, you also worked with our allies to counter global steel and aluminum overcapacity. In doing so, you resolved Section 232 tariffs with the EU, the United Kingdom, and Japan to help ensure that American workers are competing on a level playing field. Through your leadership, the United States prevailed in the first dispute settlement panel proceeding brought under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement related to Canadian dairy and successfully concluded two cases under USMCA's rapid response labor mechanism over the denial of labor rights in Mexico. Throughout, House Democrats worked to improve the USMCA. We knew that strong enforcement mechanisms would be a key to the deal's success, as you repeatedly enunciated. As you know well, Madam Ambassador, House Democrats fought hard to establish a new structure for aggressive enforcement of USMCA, and we had a bipartisan achievement with our Republican colleagues. We provided the necessary funding to bring strong enforcement actions. I'm very proud of the new standards we established in the agreement. Trade agreements only succeed if they are enforced, and I look forward to continuing to work with you to ensure aggressive enforcement of the USMCA that again supports our workers at home and abroad. While I don't have time to list all of the successes of the Biden administration, your work as USTR is once again commended for relaunching U.S.-India trade policy and the forum, which has not met at the ministerial level for 5 years, as well as the U.S.-Taiwan Trade and Investment Framework Dialogue. Our trade relationships with India and Taiwan are important and require high-level and regular engagement, as I met with the Taiwanese ambassador yesterday. Now, with respect to urgent challenges, Russia continues its horrific, unprovoked war on the Ukrainian people. The House recently passed a ban on Russian energy imports and voted to suspend normal trade relations with Russia to hold the Putin regime accountable and inflict substantial economic pressure on his regime. Ambassador Tai, I strongly encourage you to continue to work with our partners and allies, urging them to take further steps to isolate Putin from the rest of the world. I thank Ranking Member Brady always for his partnership on these trade matters, and I remain committed to pursuing any measure necessary to hold Putin accountable. As we work with our allies to restore peace in Europe, we cannot miss the opportunity to explore new trade arrangements with like-minded countries. I'm especially supportive of deepening trade ties with European and African countries. The events in Ukraine demonstrate the need to forge closer economic ties with Europe and to help improve global supply chain resiliency. A new U.S.-European trade agreement will only enhance our ability to moderate Russia's aggression and pursuit of political dominance in the region. We must also look to strengthen ties with Africa. Last week, this committee sent a bipartisan staff delegation to Kenya, which was the very first committee delegation trip of the 117th Congress. For decades, the African Growth and Opportunity Act, known as AGOA, has been a bedrock of our Africa trade policy. However, unilateral preferences in their current form can only take a country so far in terms of economic development. 2 years ago, I had the pleasure of hosting President Kenyatta of Kenya to discuss deepening economic ties, and Kenya has shown a willingness to embark on a free trade agreement and the negotiations with the United States. We should embrace it. We must prioritize trade with Africa. A comprehensive free trade agreement with Kenya that includes market access provisions will be a necessary component. As you well know, Democrats on the committee are actively working to create policies that are inclusive, equitable, and responsive to to the changing dynamics of the global economy. I am committed to working with members of the Republican Party to put forward a more informed solution to correct inequities and ensure that all Americans and segments of our economic system benefit from these trade opportunities. Done right, trade can be a powerful driver for good-paying, quality jobs and a thriving economy. We must ensure, however, that our trade provisions promote human rights, high labor standards, and strong environmental positions. I'm deeply troubled by the actions coming from China and appreciate your good and forceful work. China's use of forced labor in Xinjiang, their blatant steps to suppress democratic institutions and practices in Hong Kong, their alarming threats of invasion in Taiwan, and pervasive unfair trading practices require our immediate attention. We must be unwavering in our condemnation of these actions, use every tool available to us, and create new tools to confront China's destructive practices. In this regard, America Competes Act of 2022 is the boldest, best option we have to stand up to China, their harmful actions, and support American workers. But we also must work with our allies to address the challenges we face with China. Rebuilding trust and strengthening our alliances with Europe, Asia, Africa, and our neighbors in the Americas will be a key to our success. Today, members of this committee will hear from you directly about the administration's visit and vision for U.S. trade policy. And equally important, this is an opportunity for you to hear from us about our priorities. The conversation is a building block for requisite partnerships between Congress and the administration to create equitable and enduring trade policies.